Hi there, it's Joy
Okay.
Foster, founder of TechPixies and the host of the Sparkle and Thrive podcast. And we have a guest on the podcast who is an award-winning guest. Catherine Speakman, welcome to the Sparkle and Thrive podcast. Tell everybody what you've just won.
Well, I have become, as of 2023, the Dorset Adventure Enterprise of the Year. So it's quite specific, but it's a wonderful award to receive, and I'm truly chuffed to have that little extra title to my bow now.
That is very exciting, and it's been a journey getting there. So tell me about when you started your business and also how Tech Pixies helped you to get your business out there into the World Wide Web.
Well, it was by no means meant to be a business. It was me just doing stuff for fun, really. And then I managed to get work for Dorset Life magazine, which is kind of our county magazine. And my work basically involves going out into the countryside, finding ruins or remains or earthworks, and investigating them, and then creating a walk or a bike ride to go round to all these places of interest, and therefore encouraging visitors to our more rural parts of Dorset. And again, this was not my mission. I just went out because I'm a landscape archaeologist by through my studies, and so it was just my own interest getting out and about. And then COVID hit, and after COVID, of course, a lot of people were familiar with those scenes we saw at Durdle Door, where just everybody just descended on Durdle Door, and people having to be turned away. And because people were coming from afar, they didn't really know where else to go. Meanwhile, I'm up in North Dorset, quite rural, back a beyond. Meanwhile, my friends' pubs are shutting down. My friends are losing their jobs because there's just not the footfall anymore. And I thought it couldn't be more unbalanced. And I thought, well, this became my mission then. And I thought, right, I want to get people out and about in the hidden corners of Dorset, because there are some amazing ruins around here. There's some amazing Iron Age hill forts that are just magical to visit, and no one's ever there. And so I thought if we could kind of grab some of the popularity that goes to places like Durdle Door, and move them to areas that need that kind of activity, would benefit the local economy and everything. And yet it involved me doing what I love, which is going out and investigating things. And that's all it was when I got involved with Tech Pixies. I mean, this is going back a while now, Joy, isn't it? It was pre-COVID when I got, it was that, we started, I think, January 2020. Couldn't be a more perfect time with all the home working and the shutdowns and lockdowns that occurred afterwards. We were our own little cohort, very happily working together. Robert. So, and he really gave me that foundation of how to create some kind of brand and to create something visible digitally. And
Mm.
I think if I didn't have that foundation, without doubt, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Well, first of all, it's a thank you for saying that, but I know how hard you've worked to build this company. But I love how it just started as an idea. It never never set out to be a business, and
No.
you combined a passion that you've been trained in, and also saw a problem. I was just saying we recently ran a dream business boot camp, and I was saying the best business solves a problem. And what you did here is so cool. You solved a problem. And now, interestingly enough, the second thing that I say is a business needs two things. It needs to solve a problem and it needs paying customers. So
Yeah.
how did you go from a passion, something that you were, wonderfully skilled at, that you had
Mm.
a real desire to change? How did you shift that into a business that actually was able to generate money?
Well, it has been a real uphill struggle, to be honest, because I'm basically doing something that people love to do themselves. I'm providing a service that people can do sat on their sofas looking at a map. But then there's a lot of different degrees of how people can do that. I mean, I take it for granted. I've grown up with maps. My job before I had to leave it because I had children was I was a cartographer for the MOD. So I've got that background, and I've got a wealth of experience of maps and charts and everything. Whereas I think a lot of people don't. And sometimes people are overwhelmed when they look at an OS map. There's so much information there. And I think people that can read maps take that for granted sometimes. So I introduced a lot of maps as well to try and visualize or create a memory for people that do the walks. For myself, again, it started off with myself. Real simple maps that only show the relevant information that I want to portray, but it also keeps it simple. It's therefore it's really easy for other people to use, and it also is easy for me to reproduce, because I want to try and do a new one every week. So it's got to be able to be work that I can complete within that time schedule. So I make some money by selling some of these maps for commissions and things like that. And I've had some really impressive ones, some that I'm not even allowed to speak about, because, you know, it's private land and they're big estates. And I've had to do a few shooting maps of some rather prestigious kind of families, which is an absolute joy, because I just get to drive around their massive estates in my van. So I do have a small kind of income from that. But one thing I noticed quite quickly, and I was torn, to be honest, because I wanted to make my walks available to all, because I'm trying to get people out to the countryside, people who wouldn't really be interested as well, you know, by integrating different aspects of the landscape into it, whether it be smugglers, murders, ruins. You know, I'm trying to entice those people that wouldn't usually go out. And it's the same with the maps as well. But I was finding the more that I did, I was finding my work copied by other people on social media. So I needed to create some kind of protection for that and generate an income. And it just so happened, I mean, a lot of this work has been just riding the wave, you know, waiting until things feel right, not really necessarily forcing things. And around that time, you were very much involved with Stu McLaren and his membership scheme. And it just felt like fate to me. It really did. And so I bit the bullet and made a lot of my walks private. Now, at the same time, because I was locking down a lot of my work, I needed to showcase to people what they're paying for. So I introduced a walk of the month. So therefore, that's free. And as soon as you go on my homepage, you can see the walk of the month, and people are able to then visit that and see how much detail I go in and how much research I do, how many old maps I find, and LiDAR information. LiDAR being, if people are unfamiliar with it, it's amazing photography that's taking kind of bird's eye view, and it cuts through all the trees. It just shows the shape of the land underneath. So, you know, you can see ancient trackways and think this is where I really go off on a tangent. So I'll keep it. But, you know, it's things like that that I dig out and find and research, which when people go out to do the walks, they've got all that information there, and it's a real good scratch of an itch. So I have the membership scheme and I have the maps that generate the income. But like I said, I was really torn, because I wanted to show people that what they're paying for, but then locking it down made it private. So for a while I was like, right, I've got to build up a good enough library and generate a bit of a reputation so that people know that they're getting their money's worth. The other thing I wanted to do to try and encourage people to buy that membership was with the annual membership. This is a project that I really need to push for 2024, is that they get a membership card, and to the rural pubs that they go to, they get 10% off.
Wow.
And so therefore I wanted to give them a membership cost that was obtainable if you keep going to these pubs. So you get your money back if you keep going to these pubs. So it's like, you know, it's good deeds passing on
A
to good
return
deeds.
on investment.
Exactly, you know,
I love that.
and that's something I really need to do. I had Mark Hicks, I'm not sure, he's a well-known celebrity chef. He owned a pub in Corscombe called the Fox, gorgeous pub, and it's the village where the singer PJ Harvey's from. There's also some ancient stones there, some like own stone, like Neolithic kind of stone. It's an amazing village, amazing. And I did a walk there, and he got involved with a scheme, which was brilliant. So you could go to his pub and you could get 10% off. But unfortunately, exactly what I'm trying to fight against happened, and he had to close his pub. So it's so frustrating. My pub in my village, they're up on the scheme, and there's a wonderful, wonderful delicatessen in a little village called Sturmont Newton called Olives et al. Amazing place locally, even though they got olives from far away, can't claim them to be local. But a lot of their produce is all local, so you can get 10% off there as well. Now I've got to really push. This is my aim for 2024: is try and get more and more pubs on the scheme, and that they don't necessarily have to have 10% off. They could just have a special gift,
Yeah.
which it could be a coffee or a biscuit or an orange juice, and but if you show your card, you get rewarded for going to their pub, plus you get the walk. So I'm buzzing with all these ideas ready for 2024. But yeah, I've got to, again, like to answer your question about the income, the fact that I'm doing a service which people enjoy to do themselves does make it a bit of a struggle. So I have to kind of have special USPs that take it a step above the rest. And I am providing a service at the end of the day. I do provide wonderful research, wonderful stories. And I also think I create an experience when people go out and do it. So I have no doubt at all that they're getting their money's worth. And of course, the walks are growing. I try and do a new one every week. So at the moment, I've got about 230 odd that are there, and that's just going to keep growing. So when you divide that by, I mean, it's £7 a month. It's like about 20p a walk. So
Wow.
and plus getting the money off. So yeah, it's been an uphill struggle, but I'm getting there. And
Le-
yeah, it's again, a lot of it's built on reputation. So that's something that is hard to, and very fragile as well. You've got to make sure that you keep things good.
Well, I just interviewed Sarah Jordan for our podcast, and she started an underwear company. Um,
Oh,
and I was just looking to see if so I have a pair here, the sparkle pants, and
yay!
TechPixies, supportive, positive, authentic relationships with women who are keen to learn and want to be empowered. That's in the word sparkle. And
Yeah,
but we were having that conversation, that it has taken her 5 years to get to the place that she's at. She now has employees, but then still hasn't been able to pay herself. And so I think
yeah,
when you don't take investment, when you don't take loans, when you build it, when you bootstrap it, it does take time. And, but I do think the first thing you've got to do in order to even build the business off the back of it is be comfortable being on social media, and be
mm,
comfortable using social media, and be comfortable, getting yourself out there. And it's interesting what you said, because I think a lot of people, in fact, we just had this conversation in the TechPixies community hub. Someone had created a logo for someone, and then someone else within a group had taken that logo and had turned it into something else and had published it. And
uh,
so this and of course with AI, it's generating. You can generate a logo. AI can generate a logo, and you don't really know where it's
yeah,
pulling it from or what the pieces are. Um,
yeah.
so I'm curious for you, and I know there'll be people listening to this that feel like, how do I protect my work? So how did you notice your work was being stolen, and what did you do about it?
They're mainly photographs and kind of paragraphs of my text that has been taken out. I think the first thing you need to feel is flattered. I
I
really
love that.
do. That should be your first feeling, is that your work's good enough that someone else wants to steal it. The second thing is, I mean, when it's always been social media, I've double, triple, quadruple checked that it is mine. There's another story I can go on about in a minute about a map and sharing it. But then I'll pull them up on it, on social media. I say, oh, by the way, I'll do it in my private personal one rather than Tessa the Veil. I'll kind of pop in a comment there, all credit to Tessa the Veil here. And then credit to them, they have kind of said, yeah, I got it from Test the Veil site. So I haven't had too much of an issue, but being able to protect it does give it, that extra level of security. There's no way anybody can reproduce my maps. They're quite unique, and that would be pulled up. And I think I've got a reasonably decent community that I've built up myself, that in circles that kind of information would be shared, other people would recognize it as my map as well. But I did have one comment on my website because I'd found an old map from the 18th century of a village that called Milton Abbas that was drowned by the landlord so that he could have a nice lake. And this was the original street map of that village before it was drowned. And so that was on one of my walks, and I had someone comment on it. They love to do it publicly rather than send me a DM. And it was, how dare you use this map? You've got this map from our village historical site. You could at least credit it, us, or remove it. And I didn't get the map from his site. I actually got it from a council village plan site. So I was able to quite very friendly. It's great how magic I have, two hats. I'm sure you find that you've got your own hat, which is like, oh, stupid old man. But then, of course, you've got your business hat. Was, well, yes, I completely understand your feelings. But I actually got it from the county website, linked it so that he could see that I had. And then I just had to put a comment underneath saying, sharing historical information is surely a good thing. I don't think. And there's been other issues brought up where I've been pulled into arguments on social media with regards to copyright of maps. And there's quite a clear line that after 60 odd years, especially OS, they're copyright free. And anything that is older than 300 years or something, no one can claim ownership to them. So, I've had some swings and roundabouts with regards to copyright and things like that. But I've been lucky. I haven't had too many issues where I've been upset about it. And again, I think it's important to remember that you should be flattered first that someone's wanted to nick your work because it's clearly that good,
Oh my gosh, I absolutely love that reframe, and I love how you said that. I love everything about it, and that's really what we stand for at TechPixies is changing our perspective, giving one perspective for another. The very word forgiveness is to give one perspective for another. So I super appreciate that story and love that you shared that. What other fun stories do you have on your business journey? Obviously it was fun winning the award. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that? And one of the things that I do say to women, so we've got the Tech Pixie Awards, which is an event that we do every single year, and people can put themselves forward and people can nominate people within our community. And one of the things that I find interesting when I first started out in business and we started winning awards, first of all, I didn't realize that you didn't just get awards. Like you had to put yourself forward for awards, or if someone put you forward, then you had to sort of follow up and finish the nomination. Business awards make a huge difference though. And I know that when we started putting ourselves forward for them, we didn't win every single one we got, but the ones we did get really propelled us forward, and it made us more attractive to investors, lenders, other things where we needed at the time where we thought, well, we need this money to do these things, and having those awards gave us a little bit more clout, a little bit more prestige. What was the journey like for you getting your award?
Well, I didn't nominate myself. Someone nominated me. I don't know who. Very grateful to whoever did. But I mean, I'm very tentative of any email I get saying, "Oh, look at this! Isn't it wonderful?" I'm like spam straight
Yeah,
away.
and then they put on the bottom, P.S. It'll cost you £2,500 to enter this.
Definitely, everything seems to cost. You are wonderful. By the way, you owe us £5 for this email. It's like,
yeah,
what?
and I will say one thing: TechPixies has never entered an award or been nominated for an award where there was a financial you had to pay to be in the awards, or
Right.
we've never been given a title where it's like your whatever course of the year, and then you had to pay for it. We've always gone for ones where you're nominated or you nominate yourself, but there's no you don't have to pay for a lot. I get emails every day. Oh, we think you're the CEO of the year. For £2,500, you can have the cover of this fake magazine.
Yeah, you've got to be so careful, haven't you? So, I mean, my first thought was just doubt. I did doubt it. But you do your research. You go into default mode, right? Type that name into Google, search up that thread. Where's that? Oh, okay, they have got a Facebook page. 3,000. That's possible. So you do that kind of thing, which I did, and then of course I had to fill out the form and accept the nomination. Just sent it away, and then just I didn't think anything of it really. It's just one of those things, isn't it? And then I got the email, and I didn't read it properly at first. I thought that I hadn't got it. But wonderfully I had. It took a good 24 hours for it to soak in, actually. So I'm really chuffed. I don't know what it means. They're going to do an official announcement or whatever in their magazine. And of course, I had the offer to dish out £5,000 if I wanted a trophy or, like the cover. But I just took the complimentary gift set or whatever it was. So we'll see what comes up of it. And I think you're very right. Having an award like this does add a string to your bow. It just adds to your reputation, and it gives you a bit more kudos, I suppose. I think, adding strings to your bow is a key thing, and it's something again that I'm thinking of doing for the future, is producing a book. I mean, on my social media, it's interesting what kind of communities I found myself in, and my Twitter community is quite professional. There's a fair few of actual archaeologists on there. It was quite scary, actually. I managed to virtually meet up with my old lecturer from Bournemouth Uni. Like, oh my god, he has no recollection of me whatsoever, but he humoured me nevertheless, and having the different kind of groups, if you like, to kind of communicate, have banter with. There you go. Let's keep it simple, and it certainly helps me in producing my work to be able to make sure that it's all legit, because again, it's down to integrity too. You want to make sure that your business, I mean, a lot of my work's about stories, so I do have artistic license with that, but you got to keep you can't just pull facts or stuff out the air, because as soon as someone turns around and says, well, that's rubbish, you've just lost at least 10 pegs of your integrity when it's taken you 2 years to build up 2 of them. So but yeah, I don't know. It's a blessing and a curse, the social media side of it. And I think what people are much more quicker to criticise than congratulate. And there's a couple of funny stories I've had as well with regards to, clearly I've got to go on a lot of landowners' lands. I only always stick to the footpaths. I'd never advise anyone not to. I only take photos from footpaths and things like that. But I've had some landowners. Should I drop names? Yeah, why not? Bowden, the designer label Bowden, Johnny Bowden. He did an amazing job. This is what I was talking about. There's this tiny little hamlet, and it was complete rack and ruin. And he bought it up, and he made it into basically a family complex. Beautiful farm building, wonderful barns, and he's done a wonderful job in doing it up. Bear in mind, he's got bridleways and footpaths crisscrossing around his landscape. And I'm interested, brilliant for him for this small period of history that he's had. But I like to see this village in the bigger history, and so I'm talking about the farm, I'm talking about the settlement and how it got there. And I took a photo of his farmhouse from the bridleway, and I got a very heavy-handed remove that photo immediately. And there was another landowner who I like to try and get stories into it as well. And this one guy who's very well off, I can't remember his name now, but he had a yacht that he drove down to Jersey, and he got it stranded literally on a pinnacle of a rock like that with his boat on it. And it was in the Daily Mail. So I managed to get that image and story, because it's all fun and japes, really, isn't it? And he discovered it and got very angry with me and had to remove it all. So I do experience a bit of censorship every now and again. But again, they need to shift their perspective and be flattered that they're in my walk.
Yes, I know. Well, what is it? There's no bad press, if people are talking about you.
Yeah, exactly. So I've made them part of that history,
I love that so much. And what's your favorite? You talked about some hidden gems. What are some of the in your membership? You've teased us a bit. What's 1 or 2 walks that if we join your membership, we'll be able to get access to that you love?
Well, there's the oldest tree in, I think, pretty much the country. It's 3,000 years old. It's a yew tree. It's absolutely stunning. It's amazing, and it's right on a hill called Bulbarrow Hill, which is over the Blackmore Vale. And if anyone's familiar with the author Thomas Hardy, he wrote a lot about Blackmore Vale. A lot of his tragic characters were set within the Blackmore Vale. And down on the bottom of the hill is its younger sister, of another yew tree, which is 2,000 years old. So that's an amazing place to go. Not far from where I am, there's an amazing hill fort called Dungeon Hill Fort. And the ramparts, hill forts are Iron Age, castles basically, but they've lost all their structure and you've just got these massive defensive ramparts. And the Victorian landowner who owned the big country house that was at the bottom of the hill decided to make it into a nice garden feature. And so he built bridges into the ramparts. And now they're all kind of ruins. So you can wander around there with all the bridges through the ramparts. And at the bottom of the hill, which was a continuation of this landowner's gardens, was a lake and a grotto. And that's all ruined now. Because when there's a revolution, an agricultural revolution, where they were all angry that they weren't getting paid enough money. And so they came and pretty much burnt down the house. So there's no house there anymore. The stables have been done up into some 5-star luxury house. But the garden ruins and the hill fort are untouched and overgrown. That's an amazing one to go on. There's some amazing holloways, roads that are being carved down into the cliffs. So you're walking amongst roots, and under, the roots create the roof of the tunnel. One called Hell Lane. Amazing. And then, of course, we've got the Jurassic Coast as well. And I point out some areas where the crowds don't go. And you've got a proper smuggler's cave where you can walk down. And there's a brick wall built into the back of the cage. And within this brick wall is this old timber frame that used to have the gate in. And you can go in if you dare. So, yeah, I mean...
Hopefully you'll come back out.
Yeah, oh yeah. But when you do come back out, the view that you see would be exactly the same view that the smugglers saw 200 years ago. It's so good. I mean, that's what I try and do. When I do the walks myself, it sounds stupid, but I feel like I'm almost hypnotized and I don't realize till I get back. And all my walks end up with, and then you return to your vehicle. And it's like the hypnotist has just said, and wake up. Because I've just felt like I completely
3, 2, 1, back to reality.
Yeah, I know. Oh, damn it.
Oh, well, I mean, I love, you're such a storyteller and you're so in love with it, it just oozes from you. And I wanted to put this podcast together, number one, to celebrate you winning your award, such a big deal. 2, to celebrate you for actually taking off your invisibility cloak, getting onto social media, and turning your passion into a business, a membership with recurring income. I just think that's absolutely something to celebrate. And 3, we wanted to give people an opportunity if they needed ideas for places to go and walks to do during the holidays. Yeah. They knew exactly where to go and who to get there.
Yeah, honestly. If anyone wants to come to Dorset and want any pinpointers of where to go, just to email me and I'll help you out. We'll find out what you really like and I'll find you places to go that you won't forget without that. Especially if you come down in your van.
Yes. Oh, yes. And Barry. I know. The funny thing is Barry's been rented out for Christmas.
Oh, really?
For an entire week in the new year. This Canadian guy and his buddy are coming over and they're like, we want to go travel around the UK in the camper van. And, Barry's got heating. So Barry's very popular.
I can imagine.
Yeah. I know. The big issue we're having right now is we now have a 12-year-old and a 13-year-old who are soon to be 13 and 14-year-olds, and they don't really fit in Barry anymore the same way that they did a couple of years ago. So we're trying to decide. We're having a very, very serious family conversation about what we do with Barry. I haven't told Barry yet. So I just
you can't get rid of him. You cannot, even if it's just kept for you and your other half and not the kids. That's what
I said to him. I said, the deal is they are going to move out one day and we're going to, so we'll see. That conversation is ongoing, but certainly we have another season with Barry, our 3rd season coming up. And I'm very excited about that. But if anyone wants to hire Barry and go to Dorset and do all of Catherine's walks, this is a great combination. So if you go to Camplify and search for Barry Oxford, you'll find the beautiful Barry. Or handsome Barry. We, some people call it a he, some people call it a she, some people call it an it, they, them, we're all down with it. Whatever you want to call Barry, make Barry your own. But definitely you should be heading out to Dorset, and I will for sure make sure that this is on our checklist in the next year. I'm just so delighted and honored that, we have such incredibly talented people in our community. And, the reason I know about the award is that you're in our community and you're posting about things, still years and years later, you're still connected.
Yeah, oh, you can't get rid of me. Just hang around
Good.
in the background.
Well, where can people find you if they would like to explore your membership and go for some of these amazing walks? You've
Yeah,
definitely sold
well,
me
if
on.
all you need to do is just type "test the veil" into Google, and it'll bring up my Instagram. I'm on Twitter. I'm on good old new threads. That also trying out TripAdvisor, and I'm on Google Business as well. So there's a few places that you can find me. So it should be easy to get in touch if needs be, and happy to help with anything. Or if anyone has any ideas of places where I could go, even if it's just outside of Dorset, I might have to stretch my borders a bit.
Yes, well,
But
I can
yeah,
see where that might be the next move is to
yeah,
expand beyond the current borders once you've exhausted everything. I mean, at the pace you're going with 230 walks, you
yeah.
might you might get
I
to.
did do Stonehenge for the equinox, and that's a free
Wow.
one because I thought, well, it's outside of Dorset, so I can do a free one. And that was actually surprising because I knew that it's more about the landscape rather than the stones. But even
Yeah, and
in
I could also see an opportunity. This is sort of thinking more broadly, but I could see an opportunity potentially of selling it to the local tourist organizations in that they commission you to come in and do a set of walks for them, and then actually, and you charge what you're worth, and
yeah.
you do the whole thing. I think that could be a really interesting piece of work and a lot of fun to do. You might need Barry for that one.
I've got my own
um,
van. It's a bit of a tatty one in comparison to Barry, but she at least likes to go.
And what have you named it?
It doesn't have a name,
You gotta
actually. That's a
name
good
it.
point. Yeah, I should. Maybe Lucy, because it's a bit like her number plate, is it almost spells Lucy. Maybe Lucy Go Go. Lucy Go Go.
Lucy Go-Go. There we go. Okay, Lucy Go-Go. Awesome. Well, we've got a couple live listeners. I love it when people comment and when they're engaged with our live podcast. And of course, if you're listening to this, you'll also enjoy the feedback we've got. So Claire Louise says, great episode. It's on her to-do list for next year. And Kelly Austin says, it sounds gorgeous. And I
Oh, that's
agree
lovely.
100%. Catherine, I'm so grateful to you for being on the podcast. Thank you for sharing your
Pleasure. Thank you
journey.
for having me, Joe. It's lovely to meet you, like face to face, as much as
Yes.
this face can be.
Yes, digitally face to face. You feel like you can reach
Yeah,
through.
there we go.
Well, all the best, and with the
And you.
continued success, and congratulations on your award.
Thank you very much, Joy. All the best to you too.
All right. Wow. Well, that was so much fun. I love just connecting with women who have done our program, our social media program, and they've gone off and built amazing businesses, as Catherine has. And as you heard from Catherine, that wasn't her intention when she started this business. It was literally to bring together her love of maps and cartography and where she lived in Dorset and storytelling. And she brought all that together. She created a membership, and that membership's creating recurring revenue for her, and she also gets commissions for her maps. What an incredible story to tell, and just goes to show that you can make a business out of any idea that you would love to pursue. And I think that's really important to remember, that we all have our own unique special gifts and talents to give to the world, and those are going to be based on our experiences, our life experience, our interests over time. And actually, we have this great opportunity in, it's the 2020s, right? It's 2023 and we're going into 2024. We have this great opportunity with technology like we've never had before, to be able to create locked down knowledge-based content, and to be able to sell that as a membership or as a course. And women are, and I'm not just stereotyping here, I hope. I mean, I've had some great male teachers in the past, but women are really great at storytelling and really great at bringing together life experience and nurturing and sharing knowledge. And so this is a great opportunity for a lot of women right now in 2023, 2024 to build up wonderful knowledge-based businesses. And AI can't do what Catherine does, right? AI can't pull all these pieces together and create original content in the way that Catherine does. And I think that's important to remember as we are living in a day and age where AI can do everything, so says everyone, recognizing that humans still play a huge part in preserving history and in viewing history and bringing together the dots and the pieces. So I would encourage you, whether you go to Dorset or not, to get out for a walk this winter. Walking isn't just for COVID lockdown. Walking is, for every day. In fact, my husband and I were walking home last night with our kids from football, and we were laughing about the last time the four of us were all walking together. It felt like it was lockdown. So, do get out and get some fresh air this holiday season. It's so important in order to keep your mental health going well. 45 minutes outdoors every day is huge, has a huge positive impact on your mental well-being. And one of the things that Catherine spoke to, which I think is really important, is this idea that you can get lost in nature, right? When you become one with the one and you get fully ensconced in the environment that you're in. And I certainly have felt that whenever I've gone deep into nature. And you get out of the computers, out of the technology, out of the room that you work in, and get out into the wider world and see things and experience things and feel things that you can't from the comfort of your home, right? I always say nothing good happens in your comfort zone. So anyway, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful holiday, whether you're listening to this, whenever you're listening to this. If it's not the holidays, I hope you got value out of this. And of course, we love feedback. So feel free to leave a comment. We particularly love the comments on YouTube. We've been getting a lot more of those recently. We're very, 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 very close to 500 subscribers on YouTube. I'm so excited about that. We didn't even teach YouTube until a couple years ago. And we now are really working hard on our YouTube, and we're getting every week we're increasing our subscribers. And at 500 subscribers on YouTube, you sort of unlock the next level of YouTube. So help us get there if you're not subscribed to us on YouTube yet. One of the things that happens when you're subscribed to us on YouTube is that when we do live recordings, you get a notification that we're going live. So you can attend our live recordings. Now, we record live podcasts most Tuesdays at 9 a.m. And that's changed over the years. But this has been pretty consistent for a couple of years now, that Tuesdays at 9 a.m. works really well. It doesn't conflict with any of our coaching or our training, and it's just a great way for me to start the week. So I would also encourage you to subscribe to the YouTube channel so you get the notifications of when we're going live. It's really fun to be live on these podcasts because you can ask questions. You can also share insights. And of course, you can give us live direct feedback, which we love. So anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. But I just want to say thanks again for listening. Thank you for lending us your time. And I really appreciate all of you very, very much. So please continue to share our podcast. It means a lot to me. I'm super grateful. And I'll see you around and on the next podcast. Bye for now.